Hello, my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be the video where I talk about all of the books that I want to read in 2022, and this video is specifically books that I want to finish in 2022. So I just started my final semester of college, so my schedule is getting tighter as the days go by. So I made the decision, instead of doing just one big books that I want to read in 2022 video, that I will be breaking it up into 3 different parts. Part 2 is going to be like sequels and series and stuff. And then part 3 are just going to be the random books that I want to read this year and that have caught my eye. I used to be so good at TBRs, like I used to make them months in advance and then like stick to them perfectly. Or at least almost perfectly, if not. And like it was just something that I really loved doing, and like I loved like having the structure of it all. And then after a while I just ran into like quite a few large reading slumps. And I think I became like more of a mood reader because of that, and I'm less inclined to follow all of my TBRs. And right now what I basically use like my TBRs for is just to say, okay, here's a plan, and we'll see if I follow that, but if I don't, then that's also okay. That does bring us into the books for this video, because although I do like my new mood reading lifestyle, it has really gotten me into quite the situation where I now have multiple books from 2021, or even maybe farther back than that. I don't really remember, that I've started and that I've read bits and pieces of as the year or years have gone by, but I have never finished them. And these are the books that I would really like to just get them to stop. Like, I feel like they're like hanging over my head and I want that gone. So I would really like to finish those this year, and then I also just kind of feel bad about leaving them laying around for so long because a lot of them I have really enjoyed. I used to do this when I was a kid, like all the time, by the way. I would just pick up random books, like start them and then just put them down, and a lot of them I don't think I finished to this day, and I don't want that to happen to the books in this video, so that's why they're on my TBR. So first we're going to start off with the shorter books, and then we're going to move on to like the long ones, because I do think there's like a way that my mind differentiates them when I put them down. So the first book is Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee. This follows our main character, who has been training her entire life to become the Queen's next royal spy. However, her plans are ruined when her best friend is killed by the shamans. Somehow our main character is able to restore her best friend's life, and afterwards she is summoned to the Spider King, who uses his influence over the Deadwood to maintain the peace between the kingdoms. Our main character must then master her new abilities before the trees ruin that peace and potentially claim her best friend, who she is willing to die for. So I have not read this one in a while. I got to page 203, and at the time I honestly think that it just got outshined by the other books that I was reading at the same time as this one. I was also honestly just having some mixed feelings about it, which was disappointing because this was one of my most anticipated releases of whenever this came out. I think those two things like combined for the ultimate reason why I have put this down for so long. But then there are also other things about this book that I do really enjoy, like the Deadwood, for example. And honestly, it's not that long of a book, and I just want to finish it, even if it only ends up like a 3-star. I don't mind DNFing books as much as I used to, but there is just something about this one that I can't let go of for some reason. And maybe it is because I was so excited for it when it came out. But yeah, I just want this one done. So next we have Stronger Than a Bronze Dragon by Mary Fan. This takes place in a village when they offer a powerful viceroy their sacred and enchanted river pearl in exchange for permanent protection. He is going to marry one of the village women in order to solidify this alliance, and our main character is selected to be this person. She is not a fan of this idea, however she feels that she needs to consent to this for the sake of her people. Everything changes when a thief steals the river pearl, and our main character takes it upon herself to catch the thief, since she knows that the alliance won't go through without it. Alright, let's see. 235. I got to page 235 of this one. I honestly think I just had a really good stopping point with this one, and then I moved on to other things and for some reason just never came back. I also think that just for some reason, like where I stopped felt really distinct and I wasn't as excited for the second half as I was for the first. I actually do still remember a lot about this one and I was really enjoying it, so I am really mad at myself for putting this one down. There's just a really cool world in here, and I also enjoyed our characters and like it was a good amount of fun. So I am definitely really excited to get back into this when the time comes. I think right now it's probably like a 3.5 to a 4-star read for me, but well, we'll see. So next I have You Are a Badass with a much longer title that comes after that by Jen Sincero. So this is one of the shorter books that I actually like intentionally wanted to take a lot of time to read. I will say I haven't always gelled with the author's voice in here, but there is a lot of stuff that I've taken with me just like in my everyday life. It's one of those like self-help type of books. So I am definitely grateful for that, and I'm curious to see what the rest of this discusses, and I don't have that much left and I should probably just read it. Then again, at the same time, I'll feel like I'll know when it comes time when I should pick this back up again, if that makes sense. It's also just like 40 pages left, so I don't know. So now it's time to dive into the longer books that I want to finish this year. And this is going to be a little bit different from the shorter books because I do typically like to take my time through longer books just naturally. Whether that is in my best interest or not, I have no idea, but it does help me with finishing books and moving my physical TBR into a red pile. Just not necessarily moving the longer ones into that red pile, which is why they're here. So first off, I have A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. So this follows 4 classmates from a small town in Massachusetts when they move to New York to pursue their goals. This book follows them throughout their years as their relationships deepen and also darken, but their greatest challenge does come from one of their friends who is haunted by his terrible childhood and fears that his trauma will define his life forever. So I ended up picking this one up because of all of the hype around it. This author did just release a new book that I've also been hearing really great things about, so I automatically want to check that one out too. But I want to start with this one first and get this one done. This book also just took me like a really long time to purchase, and then after I purchased it to start, just because it scared me so much because of just what it might do to me emotionally. I'm on page 156. I'm actually just like, yeah, I'm stopped in the middle of a chapter. I hate doing that, but it's fine. But the chapters are also just like really long if I remember correctly. And I also just haven't read that many pages in like one sitting in a long time. I'm trying to get back into it, but I typically read like little bits here and there, and this just doesn't really give me a place for that. I am really enjoying the story though. I wouldn't say I'm fully invested yet, but I'm sure it's coming. I can't say I'm really looking forward to finishing this book because, once again, of what it might do to me, or also maybe I am because that's pretty much what I signed up for here. I am really curious to see where this goes because I could see myself getting really invested really easily. I just need to find the courage to start this again. So next up, I have Bloodlike Magic by Liselle Sambury. So this is a debut that follows our main character when she is given a task to kill her first love in order to save her family's magic. And she is given this task during her calling, which is a trial that every witch must pass in order to obtain their powers. I feel like that's such a simple synopsis for like a book with this much going on as this one does, but we're gonna go with that for now. I also just have the word sequel in my notes in like all capital letters. I thought this was a standalone for like the longest time, but it actually does have a sequel, which I'm very happy about. So me putting this one down is like 1000% my own fault. I don't know how well you can see these little tabs here and here, but I decided that this book would be the first book that I ever tried to annotate, not for school, but just for fun. And because of that extra step, I just haven't wanted to pick this up. Even though there was part of me that was really enjoying annotating this, and I feel like at the same time this was a really good book to start with because I was really engaged with everything, and I had a lot of thoughts, and like I was having a good time, so it's kind of dumb, but yeah, I'm kind of mad at myself for it too. I'm really enjoying the characters in here. Like even the more side characters, I guess, in here are like they feel like they've really come to life, and everybody has like a really good like chemistry together and really good banter and dynamics, and it was fun. And I'm also really enjoying like all of the witch stuff as well, and the only thing I don't really love about this is the pacing feels a little off. I will definitely be getting back into this. I am on page, where is my bookmark? Oh. 247. I'm on page 247. I definitely want to get back into this, even if I throw all of these sticky notes out to do it. So I know that I said sequels were for part 2 of this video, but there are some sequels that fall into this category, so we're going to do them here. And the first one of those is Harrow the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. This is the sequel to Gideon, oh my gosh, to Gideon the Ninth. And as for my synopsis for this, I honestly think the best way to describe it is from Charles Stross in the author blurb down here. And what that basically says is, lesbian necromancers explore a haunted Gothic palace in space. Decadent nobles vie to serve the deathless emperor, skeletons. And I think that is very much accurate for what I read in here. This book being in this video is really hard for me because Harrow was my absolute favorite character from Gideon the Ninth. And I just haven't loved the direction that the story's taken so far, but at the same time I also do really like the direction that the story's taken so far. It's hard to explain without getting into spoilers, so I'm not going to say it. Okay, I got to Act 2, which is page 137, so I'm actually a little bit farther than I thought. I thought I was on like page 50. There's just something about this author's writing style that took me forever to read with Gideon, so I'm not necessarily surprised that this book is following that same path. There's also part of me that feels like I kind of need to restart this book. I don't know, that's a lot of pages to restart, but I do want to get back into this because I want to have a really good experience because it's Harrow. I want to have a good experience. And the last book for this video, I'm really excited to talk about because I'm always excited to talk about this series, and it's also my current read, and that is The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the sequel to The City of Brass. So The City of Brass follows our main character who accidentally summons a djinn during her con and is forced to come to terms with the fact that magic is actually real even if she didn't believe in it before. Once again, a relatively simple description for this book especially, this series especially, so much going on. I know I've been saying that I'm like mad at myself for putting these books down for like quite a few of these books, but like this was the one that like I picked this back up I think last week and I was like, why did I stop? Seriously, why? On one hand, not binging this series all the way through lets me spend more time in this world and with these characters, which I love. But at the same time, like I said, there's a lot going on and I feel like I'm constantly having to like remember and get reacquainted with everything. I just love getting immersed in this world and with these characters, and I said this when I did my favorite reads of 2021 video about the City of Brass, but this is truly one of the most engaging and immersive series that I've ever read. And I love getting lost in it so much. I have about 200, I think it was, probably a little more, let's face it, pages left of this. And I don't want to finish it because I don't really want to leave this trilogy ever. But at the same time, I do want to finish it because I need to know where this goes. I always have this thought in my head while I'm reading this, like, I'm just going to keep reading. I'm just going to go to the next book and I'm just going to finish it. And then all the books are like 600 plus pages. And then it never happens, which is why I've taken my time through it so much as well. It's just, they're incredibly long. The words are small and the writing style feels a little bit thick, but I do get like used to it as I keep reading. It actually took me a long time to get acquainted with the writing style, but now that I have, I just have a great time. And yeah, it's in here, although it probably won't be by the end of the week. Okay, so that is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that. And hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye.